The Raiders are 3-0, and we hit 87,000 subs during yesterday's show. So I want to say thank you to everyone for making this the number one most watched Raiders show out there. So if you want a chance to win a Raiders jersey, you got to do two things. First off, you got to go ahead and subscribe. And second, if you want to let me know that you've been subbed, because, hey, I know some of you have been around here for a very long time, comment below that you are a subscriber, type sub, type me. Tomorrow on our Raiders Report live show, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to be giving away a Raiders jersey. Raider Nation, what is going on? Mitchell Renz here. You're watching the Raiders Report. Now, on today's show, we're going to be doing Overreaction Monday, which is the four biggest storylines after a 31-28 overtime, I don't know, shit show, hell of a game, heartbreak. Like, it was just the most crazy game, and we've only been this one. I'm like 20 years older after yesterday's game. Plus, at the end of today's show, I'm going to give you the biggest winners and losers as well. So the five biggest winners and losers. All right, the first biggest story coming up here on today's show, Derek Carr. Is he the MVP frontrunner? Talked about this last week. Last week I said, he's definitely in the top three. Now, I think he is clearly the top candidate right now for the NFL MVP award. Right now, leads the NFL with 1,207 passing yards. Currently on pace for just a ridiculous number, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. The Raiders are 3-0 behind a bad offensive line up against very good teams. I mean, the Raiders have literally become the very first team to beat three teams that had 10-plus wins last season. The two interceptions that some people are going to be like, oh, but Derek has two INTs. The first one hit Willie Snead literally in the face mask, went up in the air, picked off. And then the other interception was on Foster Moreau because for whatever reason, he just stopped running his route. So what I'm really going to be looking at is the yards, the touchdowns, and everything that DC has been able to do this year. Sure, his completion percentage is a little bit lower, but you know what I don't hear anymore? Dink and dunk. I don't hear anything about dink and dunk Carr, this and that, because they are airing the ball out, and Carr deserves a lot of credit. He's also getting the ball out, I believe, in 2.72 seconds per snap. So I like to have a little bit of fun here, and if you look at what DC has done, if you extrapolate, don't ask me how to spell that word, but if you do that for a 17-game pace, he's on pace for 6,807 yards. For the record, no quarterback has ever thrown for 6,000 in the, literally ever. 5,000's even a lot. His career high is 4,103. 34 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. So right now as it stands, here are my top five MVP race if I were to do it. And honestly, I could even switch Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray. In fact, I might actually try to do that. Tom Brady is at number 4. Josh Allen, after a rough week 1, has been spectacular the last few weeks. But it's Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford. I believe right now those are your top 3 candidates to win the NFL MVP award. It's a crazy world we're in, but I'll tell you what, DC's playing out of his mind. Now, if you guys think that Derek Carr is the MVP frontrunner after 3 weeks of football, I know that Monday night game hasn't happened yet. I'm sorry. None of those guys are going to be in this discussion. So if you think that DC is the MVP frontrunner, go ahead and type DC. Second story coming up here is around Peyton Barber. And I was ripping on Barber in the first quarter because he didn't look good. I mean, let's just face it. He and basically the entire Raiders team did not look good. But he finished the game strong, which I do give a lot of credit to him. I give a lot of credit to the offensive line and John Gruden having a good game plan. So is he the new RB2 going into Week 4, Monday Night Football up against the Los Angeles Chargers? This one is for Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. He led the team with 23 carries, okay? Gruden has just shown time in and time again that he trusts Barber, whether it's in a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situation, whatever it is at the goal line, Barber's getting that work. Now, the other reason why I'm giving this for Chucky Heads is because I know that the Raiders signed Drake to be a running back, but I'm almost going to say that they're using him more as a joker, and if you've watched this show before, and if you've listened to Gruden talk, that was the plan all along with Drake, that they were going to use him more as a joker. But these Week 3 numbers, I mean, you're talking about 23 carries compared to 8, Barber to Drake. Rushing yards, Barber averaged 4.8, Drake averaged only 3 yards. But then the catching, like the fact that Barber is also being used even in the reception game where he had 3 catches just like Drake, and he's back there receiving kicks. Like, I don't know if Peyton Barber somehow turned into Walter Payton or Bo Jackson overnight. I'm obviously kidding, But Gruden obviously trusts him, and he's clearly the RB2 going forward. So what do you guys think here? Who's the better running back? Kenyon Drake type KD or Peyton Barber type PB? I can't believe I'm asking this question, but that's what the Raiders Report's all about, keeping you guys up to date and being interactive down in the comments. Now, I wouldn't be able to do today's show if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, and I'm talking about the best deal on the internet right now. If you go to chatsports.com/Raiders, and I'm going to say that again because if you don't go to this link, I don't get credit, and you're also not going to get $125 for free to bet with if you put down $100. You can put down $200. You can put down $500. No matter what, if you go to chatsports.com/Raiders and you use that promo code Raiders125, you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, I bet on the Raiders to cover yesterday, and I lost. That's okay. How about this? If you want to go bet on the Raiders to win the AFC West, you can still do it because BetUS, they have the Chiefs at -115, despite them being 1-2. Chargers and Broncos at 350. The Raiders originally started at plus 1,600 odds, but they're still plus 500. And they're 3-0 in first in the division. If you want to bet on the Raiders to win the AFC West, chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. Let's go to the next story here that I see a lot of people talking about. And I know this has probably been a guy that I've been pretty difficult on, but Andre James was that 3-year, $12.5 million. That extension, was that a bad deal? I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads, and I'm going to say people are already starting to talk about this one because, let's face it, he's been really bad. He's probably been one of the 3 worst centers in all of football. And not only that, he doesn't have a lot of confidence right now. And if you guys get time, I want you to go and look at what Rodney Hudson did last season for the Raiders a few seasons ago when he would snap the ball. That ball would come out of Rodney Hudson's hands like a freaking missile. Bang. Always on target the Carr. Bang. Always on target the Carr. This past week, Carr, there was literally 5 or 6 times where Derek had to leave his feet to catch the ball. Andre James also snapped one over his head. He has been by far one of the biggest disappointments on this offensive line. And I know that there's other people that probably disagree with me, but you have to watch it. And if you honestly can watch the tape and say that James hasn't been bad, I'm sorry, I don't really trust your ability to be able to look at tape. So be honest with me here. What is your confidence level in James from a scale from 0 to 10? I asked you all this question last week about Alex Leatherwood. And Leatherwood, still don't think he played amazing, but he played a lot better in the second half, and sometimes you're going to have those growing pains, just like James. James did play a lot better in the second half, but let me know. Scale from 0, you're not confident at all. 10, you're very confident in James. Last story here. Are the Raiders going to the playoffs? Playoffs? Yeah, I mean, we're already talking about it, and we're just now entering week 4. I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I'm going to say that it's pretty likely. And the reason why it's 3 is this. The literal definition of 3 Chucky heads means that I believe it's a 75% chance of happening. The Raiders are 3-0 for the first time since 2002. If you guys want to let me know what happened in that 2002 year, I'm kind of waiting. You beat 3 teams that had 10-plus wins last season. The Steelers, the Ravens, the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders are the first team in NFL history to do that. Beat 3 teams that had 10-plus wins to start off the season. And then since 1980, 143 out of 187 teams, so 76.5, literally 3 Chucky heads. Teams that started 3-0 ended up making the playoffs. So if you guys think right now that this Raiders team, even though it's been a roller coaster and a usual heartbeat, I had somebody send me this on Instagram. It's like normal heartbeat, okay, dead heartbeat, Raiders heartbeat. Like, you just never know what's going to happen with this team here. So show Las Vegas some love. I want you to like this video right now if you think that the Raiders are going to the playoffs this year. It's been a difficult schedule. It's been a difficult path. But right now you're 3-0, and you have yet to play your best football. The first quarter, they need to be able to figure out what the hell's going on in the first quarter because you can't keep falling down in the NFL and expect to win. But if you play the way that you've been in the third, fourth quarter, and even overtime, and you do that in the very start the game, there's going to be one freaking tough team to go ahead and beat. So if you want, like the video. I think the Raiders are going to the playoffs. Now, all the time I tell people, hey, hit me up on IG. Mitchell Renton 365. I know I got a lot of DMs to get through. Usually Monday night or Tuesday morning is the day that I like to go through those. If you have any questions whatsoever about the game, if you want to give me your 2 cents or let me know what you thought about the Raiders game, please follow me on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, as promised now, coming up here, we're going to get into the winners and losers up against the Dolphins. So I have the 5 biggest winners and the 5 biggest losers, and these are ranked from 5 all the way down to 1, 5 being 5th biggest winner, 1 being the biggest winner. At number 5, I'm going to go Casey Hayward, and probably one of the biggest plays of the game. Raiders are down 14-0. Jacoby Brissett calls hike, throws it over to Waddle. Yes, the ball was a little bit high for Waddle. He had to leave his feet. But as soon as Brissett called hike, Hayward planted his foot, got south really quick, hit Waddle for a safety 14-2, and then after that, the Raiders went ahead and put up 25 points unanswered. It was a big-time shift in momentum. I've loved from what I've seen out of Casey Hayward so far. At number 4, it's Bryan Edwards, and Bryan Edwards has played very well. 3 catches yesterday for 89 yards, but it's not just that, right? If you just box score hunt, you might not honestly appreciate Edwards being a winner. And the reason why I say that, the only receiver that had more snaps, and I'm going to say receiver as pass catcher, that had more snaps than Edwards was Waller. Waller had 66 snaps yesterday. Bryan Edwards had 63. That led all Raiders wide receivers. For that reason, he's a winner. At number 3, we got Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow only played in 48 snaps last week, but he just continues to be as reliable as it gets. I understand that he's number 13, but that might be right now one of the luckiest numbers out there. 5 catches, 77 yards, a touchdown. His sliding catch literally on his knees right across the field. Carr shows when they need a first down, when they need a big play, they're looking at Renfrow. Big-time winner. At number 2, Yannick Ngakoue. And if you're going to sit there and say, Mitch, he had only 1 tackle, then tell me you didn't watch the game, because this guy had 6 pressures, and as soon as Jacoby Brissett was calling hike, he was dropping a big old deuce in his pants because Ngakoue's flying at him, getting pressure on him. Crosby was also good. Carl Nassib was also good in this game as well. But Ngakoue was an absolute monster. Don't just look at the stats. You got to see all the pressure that guy forced. And at number 1, the biggest winner, it almost has to be Barber. Now, I get it. He had a bad fumble. Luckily, Alec Ingold recovered it. But nobody's talking about it because Ingold did recover it. But if you want to talk about making a second-half adjustment, Raiders' offensive line and then John Gruden and Barber himself, I thought in the first 2 quarters he just ran way too safe. Like, he didn't really look for a big hole. He was just looking for 2-3 yards every single carry. And then the defense got tired, and Barber started to turn into a bowling ball at 5'11", 225 pounds, really opened things up. 111 yards, 4.8, 3 catches, 31 yards, and a touchdown. Peyton Barber is now the new RB2 and will continue to be the lead back for Las Vegas until Josh Jacobs can come back. All right, so let me know, guys, who was the Raiders' biggest winner. You'll notice I didn't put Derek in this show simply because Derek gets enough love, and yeah, he probably deserves to be in the top 5 biggest winner. He's an MVP frontrunner, but let me know who was the Raiders' biggest winner after the Dolphins game. Now, we got the losers coming up here again, but a reminder, subscribe to the Raiders Report, videos every single day. Again, I want to give a major shout out. We had 134,000 views during yesterday's watch party. It's the 3rd straight week that the Raiders Report has been the most watched Raiders live stream, if you will, on YouTube. Shout out to y'all. We're going to keep it going here. Hit that sub button. And yeah, jersey giveaway. All right, at number 5, we got the Raiders losers now up against Miami. Malcolm Koonce. He didn't play in this one. Drafted in the 3rd round, a healthy scratch. And when you see how well Carl Nassib has played, when you see how well some of these guys on the interior have played as well, I am starting to get a little bit worried that Malcolm Koonce, who was drafted in round 3, who played a lot in the preseason, which if you follow the Raiders, that's not really the best thing. I think right now he's a clear loser. At number 4, Denzel Perryman. But Mitch, he led the team with 14 tackles yesterday. How can he be a loser? Well, he's a loser because his coverage ability was just terrible. I mean, it really was. It was very, very piss poor. 14 tackles, sure, but he gave up 8 catches yesterday. 8 catches, and a lot of those came in big-time situations. He's all over the field getting tackles, but a lot of times he's getting those tackles because he's giving up a catch, and then he's got to go get a guy. Denzel Perryman also had a pretty bad, personal foul, 15 yards. At number 3, it's Andre James, and James played better in the 4th. Thought he played better in the 3rd, but the snapping needs to get better, and according to PFF, his pass blocking grade yesterday, 19.8. His run blocking grade, 47.7. Las Vegas was getting beat up on the interior, and I think one of the biggest reasons why John Simpson has been struggling is because he's been trying to help out James, because what guys are doing is that's where they're attacking. They're attacking Simpson and they're attacking James, and they're going that way. It's putting a lot more pressure on him. But Andre needs to learn how to snap the ball. He snapped the ball over Carr's head, and if you're throwing the ball literally where Derek has to catch it like this, he did it probably 10 times yesterday. Way too many, and it's coming out like a lollipop. Get some zip on it, Andre. At number 2, it's K.J. Wright. Wright was one of these guys where if you watch the show, I was like, this guy could lead the team in tackles. This guy played in only 9 snaps week 3. He played, I believe, it was like 40% in week 1. That number went down in week 2, and now it's all the way down to 9 snaps. I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes. I don't know if he's not 100% healthy, but I don't understand why K.J. Wright isn't playing a little bit more, and because of that, he's got to be a loser here in week 2. And at number 1, it was kind of hard to find a loser in this game, and I don't like ripping on guys as much as I do sometimes, but number 1 is going to be Foster Moreau. He had a bad pass interference call, and this has nothing to do with his numbers. 1 catch, 8 yards. Has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the amount of snaps that he played. It's all to do with that pick 6. When you're running a route, right? I am a firm believer that Derek Carr knows the John Gruden system and knows everything that every single player is supposed to do. And I'm going to believe Derek. Derek led Foster Moreau on a route. For whatever reason, Foster just stopped, and it was a pick 6. Raiders were down 14-0, and it was pretty quickly that happened. So for that reason, Foster Moreau is the biggest loser for not knowing the play when it needed to be, because guess what? If the Dolphins were a above-average team, Raiders might have lost that game yesterday. So let me know, guys, who was the Raiders' biggest loser after the 31-28 overtime win? I am super proud of this team. I love what I've seen so far. But you know what? The best football is still yet to be played, and I can't wait for the rest of the year. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you join me tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, jersey giveaway, and about a 90-minute long live Raiders show.